Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back to the rest of the story. So we kind of went from we're slightly behind average to maybe slightly ahead of average. What I mean by that is, on average for the last few years, we got done planting a little bit later than we typically do. Now this year and last year we finished corn, finished planting within 2 days of each other. And the amazing thing about that is we finished corn on Monday. Today is Thursday, and the stuff that was planted on Monday is already up out of the ground. So to be honest, I'm feeling a lot better having our corn in the ground under those circumstances versus having it in the ground the last week of April, the 1st of May, when we were still getting like pretty cold, crummy, not so fun days. And it wasn't that long ago that the ground was still fairly cold. Oh, this is when we were no-tilling in our soybeans, because it has all that residue on the top. And it isn't any one particular farm. It was all of our soybeans that we no-tilled in. The ground was cold, it was wet, almost muddy, and I am fully in the camp of I would rather put beans in first, let beans be the ones that have to deal with that not so ideal weather, not perfect weather, because corn doesn't like it, and that's where you really start to see the downsides of planting too early in cooler soil. Yeah, you can say that you got planted early and the planters put away, but my gosh, the amount of replant I'm hearing about this year. And the problem is some people just don't learn. I was told of more than one guy, I don't know who these guys are, by the way, just disclaimer, it's just what I'm hearing through the sprayer guy. The guy that's running the sprayer. They were talking about how there was at least more than one. There was a guy that he planted early, you know, when they had to go. Didn't come up. Poor germination, didn't germinate the best in the cold weather, or in the cold soil. Had to go through and replant it, so they did. They spun around again in less than ideal conditions, went through, replanted it. Once again, poor germination, didn't come out of the soil, out of the ground the best, so they had to go replant it again. So in total, they planted their corn crop, or in particular fields, or wherever they were at under those circumstances. But I was told it was a substantial amount. Like, you're not just talking like 4 or 5 acres, you're talking farms where they had to actually plant them 3 separate times. Absolutely not. That would drive me absolutely crazy. I mean, I hate replanting at all. I couldn't imagine going through and planting a farm again, twice. It's not worth it. And on the other end of the note, the reason I'm saying that we're actually a little bit ahead of average, at least for us, is it is May 25th. That is the actual date. It's May 25th, and we are dropping not all of our hay. We're dropping all of our alfalfa, and that comes out to all the dads, all the Ryans. This is my only alfalfa field. This is a 5-acre field attached to a pasture. Gonna take the pasture out also. Probably just, there's not much there for grass. Probably gonna use it as someplace I can spread manure on real light, because I have some late season, like really composted down manure that is sitting in the cow lots I want to do something with, so it's not sitting all summer. But this is going to be used for feeding my cows up at the home farm. The alfalfa is beautiful. I mean, it is right to the point where it's going to start throwing flowers. Probably some of the best alfalfa I've cut in, well, not forever, maybe a little while. I mean, I think the last couple of years you were seeing some flowers, but we're not aiming for dairy quality hay. But if I can make good to great quality hay and feed to my cows, I will. It's just that with only being 5 acres of alfalfa, I won't be feeding out nothing but alfalfa to my cows. I will be giving them probably 1 bale of alfalfa, and the rest will be grass hay. Reason being is because the alfalfa, especially stuff that looks like this, it'll go right through the cattle. The grass, it doesn't shoot right through the cattle, and at least I'm getting more benefit out of the grass personally. I mean, you're getting your better quality feed even for the grass hay right now, because I know it sounds terrible, but they're not calling for rain for 8 days now, and even then it's not a very high chance. So making hay while the sun shines, essentially. We'll have this stuff made probably the last day of May or the 1st of June. I'm gonna give it as much time to dry as it makes sense, and honestly it's gonna have more than what it typically would. Probably at least an extra day. It's high 80s and low to basically no humidity. This stuff should dry out good enough that you should feel pretty comfortable spinning around and putting it inside right away. So going through and getting everything made, and eventually when we do get some rain, hopefully we can take advantage of that and get our next crop of grass and alfalfa coming up. So as far as the valley goes, I did post that update. I filmed that a week ago. I have not been to the valley since I posted that update down there. As of right now, for how dry we've been, I mean, about a week and a half. That's actually good for the valley. Kind of let it dry out so I can at least reclaim everywhere. Mess that up. I can reclaim everywhere that I was making. Now the downside is I do not have any fertilizer down on my first cut down there. Not because I didn't want to, and looking back, the valley is a constantly changing animal, where in years past I would broadcast dry fertilizer on 100% of it. Well, now I'm looking at it going, okay, obviously spreading out 100% of it wouldn't have worked the best this year, because the bottom itself flooded, and as of right now that looked the best. I haven't been down there, like I said, but that was actually looking like it was coming up better than the rest of the farm that hadn't had any fertilizer. So once again, looking ahead, should I just go ahead and plan on making the fertilizer pass for first cut on everything on the bench? I mean, that's 2/3 of the farm. As of right now, that probably would have been the best move. All I can do is take notes. I really should just get a notebook. I got a couple of them actually that are empty. I can start writing notes in, just random things over the years to try to keep in line, because the problem is I'm running into is stuff that I'm doing that makes sense, that you're avoiding issues, so you're not, okay, we need to check this and this. Well, the thing is, I get so used to doing it that you start to forget that you need to do it, because it doesn't mean, no, there's a reason why we're going through, and we're going through these different processes and checking all this equipment. So like for making hay this year, this is probably the quickest turnaround. I had a skipper there, I had to clean out. The quickest turnaround I've had as far as unhooking stuff. I literally hooked up to this, greased it, and took off. I mean, I did wash it off, but same thing with the balers. I got a little bit of work I have to do to them. I was only gonna hook up the 569, but Ryan asked me if we were gonna run with both. We can run with both. I mean, we can put the 46 or the 79 on that Rhino rig. I think it's gonna be the 79. I'm not 100% through getting the planter winterized. I gotta run the fertilizer on it yet because I have the winterizer in it. I just haven't run it. I'm unable to because to help somebody else that has a similar setup as ours that wasn't planting, I was actually asked if they could come and rob a part off of our planter so they could get theirs running. Otherwise, they were going to have to wait another day or so. And they had only planted for 1 day, and they had at least a week and a half of planting in perfect running conditions. So, and we were done. So there you go. I guess I felt like being a nice guy. I didn't have to say yes, but at least the thing is we could be that same person next year. But as far as making hay goes, we'll see where we're at for the valley. I'm not against spinning around, and if it's ready to go, trying to make it next week. But with the current forecast, by the time we get this stuff, because we're giving ourselves a pretty healthy window to get this stuff raked, baled, hauled in, and put away, that we should have a little bit of a window before the next chance of rain. And I'm hoping by then we do get a little bit of rain, because the way our corn and beans look, our corn was all planted in moisture and it's all coming up. The spacing, the emergence is looking pretty good. I'm letting it actually get up out of the ground so it actually look and see how the spacing actually is. And I mean, everything I saw up there looked actually pretty cool. But by that point, if we get a little bit of a rain shower, something, a soaker, I think a lot of these crops are really going to kind of bounce and kind of jump a little bit, which is what I'd like to see. But it's June. It's not June, it's May. And as long as they're able to germinate and let these corn and bean plants root down, find moisture, and then we start getting some rain so they're able to get all the nutrients out of the ground that they can, establishing a good root mass, I'd say we're actually looking really good. Not willing to get complacent. My detent isn't working. I think my detent's starting to get weak. Not trying to get complacent thinking that corn and beans we're going to see awesome yields again, because there's so much that goes into that. Just doing a good job planting is just one piece of a larger puzzle. I'm not entirely sure. My problem is for cultivating this year, going through and cultivating is fine. The thing is that I'm only looking at doing 15 acres. I have one field that we cannot wide drop, and then the thing is, if I'm going to go to the trouble of getting it out just to do that one field, I want to do my trial. But the thing is, I kind of feel obligated where, okay, well, I did the trial on my field last year. It was corn planted into soybeans and cultivating herd. It cost me 7 bushels to the acre. But that was no-tilled into soybean stubble. That was wide dropped. Alright? But the thing is, if I've already made that test, done that trial, it really makes sense to put the time and energy, effort into pulling the cultivator out, pulling it over all my acres, and at least doing the exact same trial on the exact same field in the exact same spot on corn ground, doing a pass with the cultivator, no fertilizer, two passes with the cultivator with no fertilizer, two passes with it with fertilizer, and then doing a control pass in the center of both of those passes. My gut's telling me I really need to do it. My gut's telling me to give up cultivating. I mean, it makes sense to do it like on the strips, because I didn't do anything on the strips last year. I didn't get Y drop, but I did side dress it with the cultivator, so I have that advantage there. I mean, at least it's getting something. It's worth it. Even though it's planted into soybean stubble, at least it's getting some of that in-season nitrogen. Because I think that is extremely large. Being able to put nitrogen down in season. That's why Rockville is planted like it is. Because it opens up Rockville for the ability to put that nitrogen down in season. It's what I want. It is what I want. So, time will tell. We really need to keep doing it or not. I think cultivating, it served its purpose, but we've also switched gears enough where if we can Y drop the majority of our acres, I think it's best to save that nitrogen and just do it with the Y drop. Because with cultivating, what I was doing is I was pretty well given up on cultivating just to stir air into the soil and everything. We got a better planter set up. I mean, that has to be factored into it too. We had an amazing year last year. That should be kind of considered also. Cultivating and stirring the soil and loosening all that soil up, I've been told by Grandpa, is it actually works best on a drought year because it seals up all the cracks in the soil. And it keeps the soil from losing moisture. Well, okay, I'll buy that. And last year we were super busy. I didn't have time to cultivate everything. I would have cultivated that field 100% if I had time to do it. And it was more or less just me being stubborn of 40-20 is hooked up, the corn is already right to the point of I need to either do it or forget about it. And I'm like, well, I got liquid in the tanks, I need to burn it out anyway. Not burn it out like waste it, but it's like we're set up, we could do a trial, flag it, put it down, write it down, remember it, and do it. So everything has to factor into it, everything has to work together to make that make sense. I don't know, if I pick up another farm that they can't Y drop or anything, I most certainly would consider going through and hitting it with the cultivator. Here's another crazy idea I thought about earlier. Forget the cultivating. Set it up for literally just side dressing. Either move the rows or take the rows off entirely, or just buy a bar. I think we actually have a bar around here I could actually work off of. Just set it up for side dressing. You know, because that way I wouldn't have to drop the cultivator down. As long as I was making clearance with the 40-20, I could actually run with that bar all the way up, and then just run some sweeps down underneath that's putting nitrogen right next to the plant roots. I would totally consider doing that. The good news is we're at least getting the hay stockpile built up from, as of right now, I got 4 bales for my cows. 4 bales, that's it. 4 of some really nice second cut Reed Canary the cows really seem to like, but they like it that much, they're going to burn through it that much quicker too. definitely going to be trying to stockpile some hay going into next year. Me buying cattle like I did, yes, I was trying to grow my cow herd. That was a given. I wasn't planning on it until I actually started doing it. Buying 28 head of cows, heifers, red heifers. Yeah, 2 pretty wicked awesome looking red Angus bulls. So I think we're looking pretty good. It might be kind of fun making it through this first year until I get everybody producing calves, but that's also why I'm potentially looking at putting in all 4 bulls in with them. Yeah, I'm gonna have that one of my dad's. It's got the red genes where it's a black bull, but they'll throw a red calf 50% of the time. I can't keep them all, so I mean, another skipper. I'm actually looking at if I get any black heifers either going forward here, either I'm going to swap them out, give them to dad, or barter out for calf, whatever I need to do, or they're going to get loaded up in the trailer and just be sold. Now the thing is, I haven't 100% decided what I want to do. I do have a bunch of black cows, black heifers I can actually sort off and put in exclusively with him. That is an option. So, well, Dad's out for a late night ride. 6:30 at night. Normally I just run until I get this done, but it sounds like it's 2 versus 1 back at the house with the kids. So I'm probably gonna run until, if I can get this piece done and a little bit over at home done. Because all I got left is about 12 acres over there. I might have to come out early in the morning and finish it out. So I haven't been home much for planting, and I think everybody that's trying to get crops in and everything else right now probably hasn't been seeing their kids too much, but I most certainly haven't seen mine a heck of a whole lot. So just seeing how much both of them have grown from the beginning of planting is kind of gut-wrenching. With that, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. More haymaking, baling, hauling, raking videos are coming. We got a bunch of random projects we want to work on this summer. I got a bunch of existing fence lines that need some posts put back in them. Gonna revamp up some of our existing lots to set up ourselves better for feeding in the winter, more cattle, because that isn't even an argument. We can run more cattle. We're not talking crazy numbers of 500 head, nothing like that. I can definitely produce enough feed. I can feed them year round. Ryan's actually producing enough feed. He's actually carrying over quite a bit from last year. And, nothing wrong with stockpiling feed is what I was telling him. So, I mean, that's the way to go, because if this weather pattern changes and we do get dry, everybody's saying we're due for a drought, but like everybody else is thinking, everybody else but me. Human nature, I guess. So, alright, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you still care to support the channel. Much appreciated. See you later.